Hello, this is Greg Allison, Green Greg. It's coming to you on 13 May 2021, time on deck, 3100 hours Central Daylight Time. As the missiles overhead continue to soar, Israeli forces invaded Gaza, beginning the ground war. This is definitely something over which many people will deplore. It's a very sad situation when you get into a war like this. Of course, some people consider this the start of the war, but rockets, airplanes bombing and attacking as they have over the last several days looks a lot like war to me. The war had already begun, quite frankly, but a lot of people recognize the ground invasion as the war. Well, friends, we're going to get all into this just for a little bit. We'll do a short, quick video here tonight, I think, but this does have ramifications. It can expand. Already, there has been rockets fired from, they're bringing rockets from Hamas. That is the group, the militant group in the Gaza Strip associated with the Palestinians. And they were traditionally Sunni, although they've been supported a whole lot by the Shia side of the Muslim world. Now, the Hezbollah group, which is definitely Shia, based in Syria, highly supported from Iran, also fired 3 missiles today from Lebanon. And they missed. It went out into the Mediterranean Sea. So there's all the world potential for Hezbollah's in Lebanon and Syria. There's all kinds of potential today for this to expand for other fronts. And Israel is blaming Iran. And I just did a video asking would Iran attack Israel, because I've been talking a lot about the potential for Israel attacking Iran. Now, due to comments made by Iranian general, Major General Salami, Hossein Salami, General Salami is his name. He made a lot of comments insinuating that Iran may indeed hit Israel. And considering that Israel has been judged as a potential, that they may eventually strike Iran, maybe they'd want to preempt it. So what's going to happen here? Where's this going? We're going to get into this for a little bit. But guys, and this could drag us in. It could drag Russia, China. We all have bits and pieces in this. Let's hope that that don't happen. But guys, the world is getting crazy. It's getting nuttier every cotton picking day. Now I'm going to tell you, don't be scared. Be prepared. Don't ever panic. Keep your head on your shoulders so you can keep it on your shoulders. But you do better prepare. That's why I do these videos. I bring this to you as part of my Eyes Wide Open, Man, Head on a Swivel series, so that you know what might be going out there, so you can be ready for it and not react in fear and panic, but to be ready, to be more certain of where you're at in your future. I bring you these videos and many others. I bring you videos about other things you should do to prepare yourself, like gardening, about eating from the weeds in the trees, which is free, and even going to big box stores. And I got a video out here. You need to check on my channel about purifying and sanitizing water. So you should subscribe to my channel, bang the update notification bell, and click all for the videos that I'll be bringing on these things, so you can stay aware and abreast of what's going on, and you can prepare. And hey, you may just be a good homesteader, maybe like Homestead, raising worms. I got videos on so many things here, microgreens. I'll be doing more in the future. All right. So all that said, in line of being prepared, not scared, hey, I've got a special for you. I got $200 off a 3 month supply. 3 month supply, $200 off of 25-year lasting food. It's got breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 2,000 calories a day, that'll make you a winner and keep hunger away. This is an awesome deal, guys. This stuff is lightweight because it's freeze dried. So it's easy to bug out with, easy to carry. And in fact, these pouches, these buckets are easy to carry. They're very convenient size, unlike some of the other competitors that have giant tote size boxes. Hey, 2 of these is the same thing. You could, but they're easier to carry, to move, to store, to stack. And guess what? Take the pouches out. That's 4 servings right there. And that stuff you can put in your backpack. It's easy for bugging out. All kind of other prepping supplies. Go to prepwithgreg.com for this deal. Prepwithgreg.com. You got to go to prepwithgreg.com, get the deal. But then also there's a big star logo for My Patriot Supply. You go into there. Now, you can't go strictly to their website and get that deal, but you can through prepwithgreg.com. But you go into their website, it's all the kind of prepping supplies and all of the kind of food choices. You'll be surprised what's there. Check it out. You'll come out ahead. Also, there's $50 off for a 1 month supply if you can't handle the 3 months. But hey, guys, I'd pack it to the rafters right now with everything going on in the world, because it don't seem to get any saner as we progress from day to day. It's been nuts since 2020, and 2021 doesn't seem to show any sign of looking much better. And just look at all this fiasco we just had with the pipeline, the Colonial Pipeline. And guys, we still got gas stations out of gas right here today in Alabama. All right, let's get back to Israel. Israel, the Israeli Defense Forces have invaded Gaza, the Gaza Strip. And what you got to bear in mind is, like I said, they were already conducting airstrikes on, I mean, some very heavy bombardments. They even took down a 13-story office and apartment complex. This is heavy bombing right in residential communities where people live. It's got to be rough on the people in Gaza, and the people in Israel. Or the Iron Dome might be over 90% affected, but when the Hamas group is firing over 1,000 rockets, some of that stuff is getting through, and it's hard on them too. There's two sides of this, guys. There really is. There's always two sides to just about everything. Both sides think they're right. Okay, and once upon a time, a lot of Jewish people settled into Palestine. And initially, they were very much welcomed by the Palestinian people because they had a lot of money and seemed to be pumping up the economy locally. But in time, and as their numbers increased, they got very much wanting to take land. And what it said is that they actually ran a lot of Palestinians off their land. They took land from lots and lots of Palestinians. Now, I've got friends that are Palestinian. I've got friends that are Jewish. Hey, one of my former bosses was a Palestinian, and a Cuban mate of mine was once Palestinian, and working in the same company. They were both from a lot of Palestinians fled to Jordan, and it's got a little Mideast, but Jordan took a good number. So a lot of your Jordanians are actually of Palestinian descent, and that was the case with these two individuals, a former boss and a Cuban mate of mine. So you know what, they were good people. Like I tell you, there's good and bad people everywhere in the world. There's people who give you their shirt off their back. There's people that will help you out, people with good hearts, smart people on all sides in every community from every race and religion in the world. It's hard for some of you to believe. It doesn't mean that every country and every nation and every religion are great and wonderful. But maybe they are in some way. At least they are to the people they serve. But we do have a lot of consternation between each other, and we've got to learn to get along in this world if we're going to survive. That's one of the things I teach in this channel, is that we're not going to make it if we don't learn to get along. The technological proliferation, we will annihilate ourselves and not do this in the future if we can't figure out how to break through all this stuff and get along. But right now we got a war in front of us, and we may have other wars in front of us because the military tensions in the world are off the charts. There's a lot of people, a lot of aspirations in very powerful places. Xi Jinping, for example, you consider him one of those who has great aspirations and he's doing a lot of bullying apparently. So just look at Hong Kong. Look at his aspirations for Taiwan, not exactly peaceable. So, and I've always said, nobody has a right to possess or own another group or person. A lot of people just can't seem to get that in their head. They think, you're mine, but no, they're not. You're wrong. You don't have the right to possess anyone. Look at Russia and Ukraine. What's going on there? And Russia's desire to take the Baltics. Yeah, we've got a lot of tension today. So let's look at this with Israel and Iran. Like I said, Israel and the Palestinians. The Palestinians feel dispossessed, that they've been crowded into the Gaza Strip, which is kind of like an Indian reservation in America, like they run off their land and put on a reservation. The Gaza Strip is a rough place. It is really packed, and it's been bombarded way too often. So the Gazans, the Palestinians, are not, they're not comfortable. They're not happy. And why would they be? And you got, like I said, a lot of Palestinians in Jordan. So it's a tough thing. But actually, you do have Israeli Arabs. You have Arabs that live among the Israeli Jews in Israel that aren't there in Gaza or elsewhere. And some of them have, for a while, there was, in some cities, riots in Israel, and there was some talk that maybe there'd be a civil war. But you've also got Israeli Jews and Israeli Arabs that are calling for peace right now. They don't want to see this. And I think that's the smart thing. Oh yeah, one of my, as I mentioned, I even had a guy who used to sit right across from me at work, and he was a Jewish guy who was a mathematician, really brilliant, really talented. He did some of the best work in our PRA group, probabilistic risk assessment that I've seen. And his main number one right-hand co-worker was an Arab from Qatar, and they got along fabulously. They're good friends. Oh, by the way, that latter person is my B man now on my place. So, guys, we got to learn to get along, and some people have shown it can be done. But right now, we're not there in the Mid East and Israel. The tensions are. It's not just tensions now; it is warfare, and the warfare is escalating. So the Israelis are in. So let me kind of recite some things here. Uh, the Israeli air and ground troops have launched an attack in the Gaza Strip, authorities said. The latest round of fighting between Israel's military and Hamas, the Palestinian militant group controlling the Gaza Strip, continued. Israeli Defense Forces issued a short statement confirming that troops were on the ground, and more details will follow. In a new statement also released about 1 a.m. local time Friday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the military operations will continue as long as it takes to restore law and order to the cities in Israel. So there you are. IDF Home Front Command ordered all Israelis living in the Gaza border to go to their safe rooms and stay there, and to further notice as well. Okay, guys, so there you have it. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister in Israel, says this will continue until there is law and order in the cities of Israel. That means no more fighting, no more missiles, everything's calm. So they're going to pound the heck out of the Gaza Strip. So I said there's two sides of everything. I was accused in my last video of taking the side of Israel. Now you'll think I'm taking the side of Palestinians. Well, there are a lot of people in Israel who were born there. They can't help how they got to be born there. And some of them are, second or third generation by now. And, they're just there, but they're on the receiving end of these missiles and rockets. There's a lot of innocent people on both sides who, there are people that have caused, bad things on both sides. But, the Palestinians, are like I said, they've been marginalized. They've been put on a reservation, you might say, taken from their land. A lot of them. There's still, like I said, but there are Israeli Arabs living in Israel who possess land and live as citizens of Israel. That's a fact. There's also, there may be some hope in that toward some way to make peace. All right, that's not where we're at right now. Where we're at is Israel is blaming Iran for this. They're saying Iran instigated this. And we know they're kind of itching with respect to Iran, especially contingent of these negotiations. They claim the United States negotiates a revival of the 2015 JPOC agreement, that they will attack, because they claim that Iran has a program to produce nuclear weapons, and they claim that they went in and took the documents that their forces, their Mossad snuck in and grabbed all the documents and intels to prove that that is in fact the case. And as I mentioned in a previous video, one of the Israeli officials said, yeah, they did get our documents. So it's something of a slight admission to what the Israelis are claiming. That is, if the guy is to be considered credible. So, of course, Israel is denying, oh, no, we don't want to build these things. No way. We're just enriching fuel a little bit further to try to force negotiations to our favor. Really? Wow. So you can see where there's a lot of consternation there. If I were an Iranian individual, I might not be too happy with the Ayatollahs who for pulling all the world condemnation on our heads. If I were over there, most of those Persian people of Iran, they're Persians. They They really want peace, and they really would like to live a Western lifestyle. They would like to live like we live in the United States. Uh, the Persians are not Arab, but they are Muslim, very much Muslim. But not all of them are in favor of the Ayatollahs. In fact, there's quite a few that don't like that regime, and there's quite a number, in fact. And that's why I believe that Israel has had such free hand operating in Iran, pulling off a lot of covert detonations, bombs, and fires and stuff like that. So there has been something of a war already going between Iran and Israel. So at any time, this could pick up. It could pick up now. Maybe Israel might decide Iran might decide while Israel is all wrapped up, into Gaza. Might be the perfect time for them to hit. But I don't think they would invade. Somebody misunderstood me when I brought this up in the last video, and I did say that because it's 1,000 miles between them, and their forces would be exposed to withering fire of artillery and rockets, mainly rockets from Israel, in the wide open as they're trying to transit the area. I talked about how they might go through Iraq or someplace. Well, northern Iraq, which is most accessible to them, is primarily Sunni and Kurd, and it probably wouldn't be as supportive as their Shia population in southern Iraq. So they would have a hard time making a ground force invasion. So I would see it as a missile activity, mainly missiles, and maybe maybe they are behind this because this missile attack did start after the statements issued by General General Soleimani was the one that the U.S. planted some time back, if you will, and that's created a lot more consternation between the United States and Iran. So the United States and Iran are at it with each other, and Israel, though sees the United States as being soft in this category, and they really pondering an attack. And okay, but let's go back to this thing in Israel. What's this all about? The Israelis were celebrating taking Jerusalem, and having the Temple Mount now is at least part of it within their realm. But they apparently were very disrespectful and arrested or harassed some of the worshipers at the El Mosque there in Alaska, not Alaska, in Alaska on the brain. The mosque there and on the Temple Mount. So which was a great offense to the Arab population, and even all the Arab population in the world, or Muslim, I should say, would take offense to that because Muslims are more than just Arab. Like I said, the Persians, Indonesians, there's Muslims in sub-Saharan Africa. So there's a broad spectrum of there's Muslims in Europe. So there's a broad spectrum of peoples that are of that faith, but their main center is within the Arab world. But a lot of people are taking great offense there to the fact that the Israelis were harassing people at the mosque, and a lot of people think that all this conflict may lead to the destruction of the mosque and enable Israel to build their third temple, which there's a big temple movement in Israel, and so they may be looking for an excuse, and that would really inflame the Arab world. But at the same time, Israel's been kind of getting most of the Sunni world on their side. And most of the Sunni world has been kind of ignoring the Palestinian situation because they view Iran as a bigger enemy, the bigger threat, since Iran is developing nuclear weapons or seems to be close to doing that. And as you know, Saudi Arabia already has a proxy war against the Iranians, mainly through fighting the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Okay, so there's been some discussion that maybe even Saudi Arabia would allow the Israeli Defense Force, the Air Force, to attack from Saudi soil. But the Saudis going to have a hard time supporting that with Israel disrespecting people at the mosque there in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount. So there's a bit of a conundrum there. So Israel probably don't want to push that too hard because they're trying to make peace with Saudi Arabia. Maybe hard to do right now while they're having war with Palestinians, and that might be the opportunity for Iran. So I don't know, guys. I don't know. Of course, China would probably relish that picking up and the whole region getting inflamed like that, because that might give them the backdrop while the world's distracted there to take Taiwan. Maybe North Korea might see opportunities in South Korea with these kind of things going on. Yeah, it's a big step, but we do know that China's really got their eyes set on Taiwan, or just looking for the right moment. Maybe they're not built up quite as much as they want to be for that yet, but there's all kind of room for escalation. But bear in mind here, if there is no further escalation outside of the Mideast, if Iran gets involved and Israel attacks back to Iran and back and forth, whatever, just bear in mind, Israel's got enough nuclear weapons to probably start something of a small scale nuclear winter. That could happen, and it could directly affect us here. But bear in mind also, China is aligned with Iran because China gets their oil from Iran, and Russia's aligned with Iran because Russia is supplying their nuclear power plant, which they're using as the source base to enrich uranium. There you go. And Russia's also in bed with Syria, and it's a complicated world over, very complicated. So there's all kind of room for things to go right, pull other people in, for it to kind of spiral, to escalate bigger and bigger. Let's hope these things don't happen. Let's pray these things don't happen. And I hope it don't. And it may not now, but it may later. These things could just build over time. Whether they do or don't, a lot of people believe this is in prophecy and Revelations. And Muslims also believe it's in their prophecy. And their prophecy is kind of a mirror image of Revelations, to some degree. Some see them as a little bit more identical, but some see them as positive and negative images of each other. Well, that's for the mullahs and the preachers to figure out. All I know is that we need to get ready. We need to be prepared. First thing to do is to prepare yourself spiritually. Be right with your maker. Be centered. Be strong. If you have the right preparations in order, yeah, all you can do is what you can do. Don't fret over it. Once you've done all you can do, don't fret over it. Be strong. Be centered. Know how to have things on the ready. So store supplies, food, water, everything you use on a daily basis. Just think about what you use regularly. Start stocking. Stock as much as you can. You know, there's only limited room, limited money. You only do so much. That's why you should really buy seeds, grow a garden, learn gardening. Hey, I got links to True Leaf Market. Check out True Leaf Market. Excellent source of seeds that are heirloom, which you can plant and grow the same plant back again. Unlike hybrid seeds, and they're non-GMO. And they tell you how to grow stuff with them. And also, I got videos showing you that stuff too on my channel. So check out my links to True Leaf Market below, and that will help you out in that regard. And hopefully, I'll be returning to worm cells maybe this fall. I'm gonna have to shut it down again, unfortunately. I just had a start, and I spent a lot of money, and I just had some problems, and just isn't ready. So I got ahead of myself. Sorry about that, guys. There's a couple of customers that I've got to work with, but we'll work it out. Anyway, my friends, this is where we're at. It's not a fun situation at the moment. There's nothing to glorify about warfare. It's ugly. It's bad. A lot of innocent people are at risk, and it's just something we don't want to see. The last thing we want to see is Israel and Iran get into it. That would be far bigger and uglier. Well, I'll say the last thing. Really, the last thing we want to see is either the U.S. and Russia, or the U.S. and China, or the U.S. and Russia and China get into it. That is the last thing we want to see. But next to last is us or Israel getting into it with Iran. That would not be pretty. Well, and it wouldn't be pretty with North Korea, another Korean War either. I'm sure to put a topic on that. That would be far worse than the first Korean War. It's just, guys, the world is a powder keg, big time. I'm not saying these things are going to happen, but there's so much going on, guys. You need to be aware. You need to prepare, and that's how to be state centered. Once you know you've done as much as you can, there's no point in fretting it, but you should never panic. When you panic, you lose your head. Don't panic. Stay centered. And, if you're right with your maker, then you know if it don't work out here, you got somewhere else to go. So take the time that you can to love your family, your friends, to make sure people feel your appreciation. You should always do that. You never know what day's your last or what day somebody else's last. You know, I was driving up Highway 53 on the 19th of April on my way to get some water bottles for some rabbits. Everything was great and wonderful. And some guy just suddenly stopped in front of me to make a right turn. A big, wide road, which, you know, almost a blind man could have turned into, but for some reason, he had to stop to make that right turn. Okay, well, I stopped. What else can you do? Traffic coming the other way, guy stopped in front of me. The guy behind me, that's a different matter. He was driving a big truck. And I don't know why, but just the last few feet before he got to me, he just suddenly went, oh my God, it's like he woke up. He slammed on his brakes just a few feet from me, leaving rubber marks on the road. Those rubber marks didn't start too far behind where I was at. They continued through where I was at and onto the other side of the road. Well, continuing through where I was at, meaning two vehicles were trying to occupy the same place at the same time. Wasn't my trying to do it. I was doing what I was supposed to do. I stopped. He hit me with a transfer truck, panel truck. Bam. Threw my van forward. My seat broke back. It threw me backwards so hard, it pulled my left shoe off. The stuff that was in my pockets flew out. That's how hard it hit me. It just threw me back, broke my seat. My pocket contents were thrown out. My left shoe was turned off. I was thrown back, you know, the seat was here. I was thrown back. I mean, I wasn't even down here where the pedals were. My car is hurtling down, went over like a ditch area, it's hurtling through right between power poles. And I saw one coming, a pole. And I'm trying my best, laying back flat, accelerating to push myself forward. I mean, I'm just hit. I'm discombobulated, whiplashed, back hurting. And I'm trying to get up there to hit my brakes. And my feet weren't where the brake pedals were. I couldn't get there fast enough before the car reached the pole. Bam. Well, I had two collisions for the price of one. What a bargain. Wow. Totaled my car. I love that car. Totaled that car. It all happened in an instant. So it may not be a war. May not be all the kind of things we worry about every day. Just in our personal lives, things happen. 1 second, everything is great. A split second later, your world's upside down. It happens just like that. Fast. Fast. That's the way these accidents happen. One moment, everything's great. The next moment, I was lucky in that I'm still alive. And I will recover. Yeah, I'm still crutching around a bit, but I will recover. It's getting better. It didn't break anything. Just jammed my joints. And the way it jammed them, it made them hurt and sore. Well, I did bust my knee, and both knees a little bit, but mainly my right knee. It got bruised real good. And I got whiplash in the neck and the back, mainly the neck. The back got sore. So, you know, it takes a while to recover from something like it. It's been 3 weeks ago. I'm getting better. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. I'm lucky, very lucky, considering I hit a pole after getting rear-ended by a truck. Wow. And, you know, if it hadn't been for that pole, maybe I couldn't have got to the brakes fast enough anyway. It might have been across the next road, maybe in another car, and then it went down into like a hill full of trees. It could have got worse there too. So it is what it is. The point being, you don't know what's next. Be prepared. That's the best thing you can do. That's also the reason you need to show your love to your family and your friends. Be a friend. Be a family member. Let everybody know you love them. Anyway, that's the best thing you can do. But, you know, be prepared spiritually, physically, mentally, and have your preps. And hopefully that's just insurance. Hopefully one day you'll be popping those pumps open and say, wow, this was a great investment. Look at all the inflation we had here over the last few years, and we're getting a lot of it. Inflation's coming, guys. This stuff's a great bargain right now. Oh, you know, in 20 years, 5 years before that stuff expires, you can be popping that stuff up and say, wow, this stuff was cheap. Look how the money I saved. See, there's an upside, very big upside. Consider it an investment. It's insurance and investment. The crazy world we live in today, holy smoke. So it still is going up 3 times higher. Iron ore is up 10%. How come it's not higher? Still 3 times higher. Middlemen, that's why. Everything's going up. Lumber, whoo. Food, yeah, prices are going. All right, guys. Yeah, and gas prices too now. Wow. Yeah, gas prices are up, energies and everything. All right, guys. I went a lot farther than I meant to. The whole operative thing is here: get ready, be prepared, be centered. And as always, I wish you all the very best in the world. I hope everybody, I'm looking around for a bunch about the end of the video. That's why you feel like, well, what you doing? So, guys, take care of yourselves. Take care of your loved ones. And, oh, yeah, we got freedom. We're looking at forming these little freedom communities, little survival tribes. So if you're interested in that, write me at info@freedomrestorationfoundation.org and put tribe in the subject line. If you're interested in helping us preserve and restore freedoms or personal freedoms, same address, info@freedomrestorationfoundation.org, and put freedom. We're just free in the subject line. And check out the website. The website is restorationfoundation.org. Also, although I'm not selling worms, I've just shut it down. The buttons are still on my website, but they won't take you into the purchase area and PayPal. They take you out to the front page. But those buttons are in the sandbox. But a lot of my videos on gardening, wild edibles, and worm farming are all together. I still got to add some to the gardening and wild edible section. The gardening section also includes microgreens and aquaponics. So it's easier to find those videos if you go to my website, greengregs.com. Good place to go for my videos. greengregs.com. A lot of information there. Hopefully, it may be this fall before I can return to sales on the worms. Just running some things. But I'll be either delivering worms to everybody who's ordered or giving a refund, their choice. I have delivered most of the orders, but there's a few that I haven't completed yet. So it's either I will give everyone a choice of refund or other options. So if you've seen this video and you haven't heard from my email yet, I'll send one out tonight. And I thank everybody for support, and I really wish everyone the best. So let's hope the world wakes up and gets saner. Oh, wow. We seem to be heading the other way. All right, my friends. Thank you for watching.